their case. At this point, they say there is a person of interest, but they're not naming that person. How did they get to that landfill in Elk River? According to investigators, they obtained some video that helped them find a dumpster in Columbia Heights. They're not saying exactly where. That truck then picked up at the dumpster going to that landfill in Elk River. This is a developing story our team has been on all day long. We'll stay on it for you as well. That's the latest here in Columbia Heights. Eric Shalou, 5 Eyewitness News.
Heartbreaking words from that great-grandmother, Eric.
Wow.
A tragedy on the 4th of July, gunfire breaking out overnight at a short-term rental, killing a juvenile and injuring 5 other people in Columbus. We're told 250 people were there for a party. It's good to have you with us tonight at 11. I'm Colin Dorsey. Yolanda has the night off. Well, this is all happening just after 2:30 this morning on Wilson Avenue. That's on the city's south side. 10 TV's Carly Dion is digging into what we know about that case tonight. Carly?
Well, Colin, as of tonight, Columbus police are still trying to track down the person responsible for this shooting. But a man hired to work security for the party last night explained what went wrong.
It was a lot of folks in there, and everybody was having fun until the wrong crowd showed up, and everything just literally went left.
Earl Jones says he was hired to work security for a party at a home on Wilson Avenue Thursday night. He says he and 2 other guards had a thorough system of patting each person down before they entered the party. At one point, the host asked them to allow some people to enter without being checked.
We were instructed that certain people were allowed certain.
What? Did you hear that?
He entered the party. At one point, he says he and 2 other guards had a thorough system of patting each person down before they entered the party. At one point, the host asked them to allow some people to enter without being checked.
We were instructed that certain people were allowed certain privileges of not having to go through the security process. They were just able to enter and leave at their own free will.
Later that night, the party took a turn just after 2:30 a.m.
All you could hear was chaos, gunshots everywhere. First, we thought it was fireworks, but then when it was that close, we realized.
This video from a witness shows the chaos unfolding. Jones says shots were fired both inside and outside the home. He says he did all he could to help the victims.
Our help wasn't enough for one of the victims.
When police got to the scene, they found 3 victims with gunshot wounds. One of them, a juvenile, did not survive. 3 more people with gunshot wounds were also taken to nearby hospitals. The 5 who were injured are all expected to survive.
This is really a day of celebrating freedom. And now someone who was free lost their life because so young at that. He was so young. He just looked like a kid.
Jones says people with guns on them seem to be getting younger and younger.
We had a guy hide a gun in his hoodie to try to get through the security process. And I'm like, dude, you're like 18. How you even got this gun? And he's like, don't worry about it. And then he walked away.
He says he even caught teens with semi-automatic hand rifles and Glock switches on their guns.
The ones we caught. But the ones that got to avoid our process inevitably caused this night to go the way it did, and people lost their lives.
And police still have not been able to identify that juvenile who died. Anyone with additional information on the shooting is asked to contact the Columbus Police Homicide Unit or remain anonymous and submit a tip through Central Ohio Crime Stoppers. Carly Dion, 10 TV News.
Carly, thanks. Well, in a statement, Columbus police are asking parents and guardians to be vigilant, know where your children are, and know who they're with. Also, talk to them about the dangers of settling disputes through violence. You can read the full statement right now inside this story on 10tv.com.
Yo, Og, wake up.
Good boy, Og passed out again, huh? I was surprised he woke up the last time.
Yeah, it worked. And I didn't really have to. Yo, Og, wake up. Hey,
Og, wake up. Nope. What were you saying, Wiki?
Yeah, I was saying, do you know if I covered the story where the Sunman in a road rage incident shot a little white girl?
Shot a white girl?
A little white girl. I think she was
Oh,
5 years old. Do you know if you
oh
covered it?
no, nah, it doesn't sound familiar.
I put it in the bag chat. Let's see if he wakes up and
Oh,
covers it. But apparently,
Ricky,
a
uh,
son man in a road rage incident shot a 5-year-old white girl.
like, how did he shoot the 5-year-old white girl? Like, he just shot at the car and the white girl got hit.
Yeah, she shot
Mm,
at the other car, and then the other car
mm.
was the dad with his daughter, and he
What
shot
a
the
shame.
daughter.
What a shame. I bet you
Think about
he gonna keep his head held high too.
right.
Like, so what, I did it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was on
Yeah.
the dad.
He might claim self-defense. He tried to run me off the road.
Man,
Damn crackers think they can get away with everything.
right. White privilege. Think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that,
I
bro.
know.
These
I
people will
know.
fix their face to talk about white privilege, dude. The privilege to
Yeah.
what?
Oh man, to their mind. Privilege
The,
to the sun man's mind.
the privilege to have your daughter shot by a son word.
Right, right.
What like the fact that we allow them to say all this shit is crazy, bro.
But we do allow them to say that. We don't allow them to do shit, but they're allowed to. They're emboldened. A lot of times I be thinking to myself, because I do, it's like, and Aqua will tell you the same. It's we as sons, we need the gliders to fix this. We need the gliders to fix this.
Yeah,
We need them to take the wheel and fix it. But
right,
I'm
right.
kind of realizing that the gliders, they really got to clean up their race. They got to clean up these liberals that have been led astray or whatever the hell they got going on. Because
Well, the liberals are the ones dominating the political sphere. They're the ones.
yeah,
The liberals are dominating. Trump in office, still, I think the liberals are dominating.
I think so too. It sure does look it. And even if and then we don't have that fiery 2015 Trump. We can't even run off of that kind of energy anymore because Trump has already showed what he's about. He's about American globalism, if that's a
Yeah.
word. He's not
Mm.
necessarily
America.
about that talk. Yeah, no, he's not about giving Americans the win that we want. And I wonder what that win was.
Man. I think you would agree when I say that the liberals right now, literally right now, at the drop of a hat, could gather a mob
Mhm.
at a given location if something moves them to. It could be the most minor thing too, right? And that mob could, I mean, we saw what they did in 2020, for example, right? And
Mhm.
how they were forgiven for what they did for burning the cities down, right?
Yeah.
But they don't even have to burn it down. They could literally just cause chaos.
Yeah, they could. They
They
could,
show up.
and they
They were
would.
showing up to judge's house, dude. Remember the
Hmm.
one judge? Remember the one cop, the female cop with the taser, that where she shot the one son, the dangerous somewhere. Remember that one
Uh,
in
Female
Minnesota?
cop.
Yeah, she thought she grabbed their taser. She grabbed their gun.
Oh yeah.
As he
That
was
was
taking off,
yeah. I remember that.
and he was a violent sonward, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
with a violent history, but the liberals showed up to the judge's house, dude. How is that acceptable?
It's not, but I think it's kind of emboldened because they need. It sounds like history repeating itself. I used to always think to myself the biggest difference because when it comes to like that Chinese communism, that Maoism, or when it comes to the Bolsheviks, or when it comes to the Cambodian Holocaust, it was the young people that it was the
Oh
young
yeah,
college propagandized kids that would
even in
come in
China.
there and they would enforce the. So one thing that I used to always say that America had an advantage on was that these leftists they were a bunch of pussies, you know. They're a bunch of pussies that sit here and want to be women, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I think these dudes. I mean, personally, I believe that they're extremely dangerous. I believe they're extremely dangerous. I believe they go to the gun range every day. I believe that they practice making bombs. They just cannot wait. They just cannot
Yeah,
wait to be that sleeper cell that Israel claims that Iran is going to be. You know.
you know, in the 70s and 80s, more
Hmm.
the 70s, the
Yeah.
gliders were engaging in terrorist activity regularly.
Yeah, in the 60s, yeah, 60s too, 60s,
The late,
70s.
yeah, like the late
Mm.
60s, 70s.
Yeah,
They
yeah, I
were
know.
aligned with like the Black Panthers, you know,
Hmm.
it's different like
Yeah,
some groups that wanted, I don't know what the fuck they wanted.
yeah.
I think
So
they wanted the
I mean,
cops to allow them to rob people or something, right? Wasn't that the number one rule
uh,
of the Panthers? Allah was to
um,
rob people without consequence. I'm pretty sure that's what it was,
well,
something like that.
no, they were just communists. Like you ever heard Op talk about Huey P.
Yeah, I'm
Newton?
familiar with them.
Okay, yeah, yeah. Wasn't he a homosexual? Well,
I
I mean, I
wouldn't be
know that.
shocked.
I mean, well, he was Hollywood, you know.
Yeah, but
Uh,
the gliders were engaging in terrorist activity for
mhm,
different reasons, including the sun cause, but other
mhm.
reasons too, right? Yeah, the liberals, man. I think, but that's why when I hear like New Guy, for example, right? You know New Guy, right?
Mhm.
The Canadian.
Yeah, you're right.
He talks about this ethno state, right? But
Uh-huh.
gliders are so divided, dude. Like,
Well, they
does he
are.
mean like the 50%? Because look, out of 100, typically speaking, right? Out of
No,
100%, 50, they're
I'm
kind of
very
50-50.
no, I'm very familiar with the crowd that new guy is talking about, you know.
So he wants just the
Um
50 conservative to create an ethno state, not the
not
other 50.
well, no. He's gonna I mean, I imagine these types are gonna want an ethno state. They're gonna want an ethno state where in order, you know, where other people can go there, pass through, maybe even live, but they're gonna want them to have passports. Um, that way, you know, your passport can just get revoked at any given moment. I tell you what, another thing is I'll be on these Twitter spaces, and there's this dude. I mean, I'm probably about 85% sure he's Juice Crew, but
Okay.
his name's Sir Ludwig, and you
Okay.
know he always gets on every day. Has these probably about these 6 hour panels, and it's called Ludwig Solutions.
Okay.
So you know he was on there and he was basically talking about what are we going to do with these you know, the sun crimes, sun behavior.
Oh wow.
It's bad. You know, what are we gonna do? Yeah, you trust me. He talks about he's very familiar with the FBAs. The FBA's coming in there and
Does he know about
act a
Ike?
fool.
Do you know? Has
Man,
he ever mentioned it? Not really.
no, he wouldn't. This guy, he's like into his own stuff.
Yeah.
He's like I mean, I don't know if I would call him an intellectual, but you know,
But you
this
said
guy
he.
is.
But you say he discusses crime, right? Like some
No.
crime.
He doesn't. He just discussed it for today. What he
Oh,
really
okay.
talks about, or that day, what he really talks about is how America has fallen. You know,
Mm,
America's fallen. The world's gone to shit.
yeah.
He will name the JQ. He will acknowledge the JQ, but he's also really on that. Hey, we need to get past all that. I mean, which I do agree. Um, so and I was listening to a couple things that he was saying. So he was talking about when it comes to son women, when it comes to like, your typical son household with the woman and multiple baby multiple babies by multiple fathers. He said in order for them to continue to get uh, um, the whole benefits and all that stuff, Medicaid and all that, she's gonna have to, after the third baby, she's gonna have to surgically get a like a birth control, something like that. She's
Okay.
gonna have to surgically get that put in her. That way, she won't have any more kids on the people's dimes, and that her children will get allowances from the state, rewarded by the state, but they're going to have to get out and do chores every day for their own neighborhood, which includes painting fences, sweeping the streets, and he's basically saying that they're all going to be designated to one area, and they're going to constantly make it clean, and because of
But,
that, they're getting
but my
paid for their.
question is, why the third one? Why do we have to wait so long?
Oh well, I mean, he might not even have said 3, but
Hold on.
that's
Yo,
just.
I can up. Real quick. I put a
I
story in the
was
back.
listening to everything I said. I listened to every word.
Oh, everything he said.
Yo, check what
No, I
I
was.
said.
I was
What I
listening to
said.
everything I said.
So you heard when we were saying wake up? Or you
No,
heard
I
that one?
didn't hear any of that, but I heard everything.
I ain't even do my Pantheon voice because I don't think it works anymore.
Yeah. Yo, I put a story in the back chat, Chief. I don't know if you covered it, but you gotta play it. It's crazy.
In North Minneapolis are demanding something be done about violence in their community after another deadly shooting. Around 2:30 this morning, gunfire woke folks up